It was a cold, rainy morning in downtown Seattle, one of those mornings where the sky looked heavy, and the air smelled like wet pavement and coffee. Inside a cozy little cafe on Pine Street, a man named Ethan Miller sat by the window, trying to calm his nerves before another long day. He wasn't there for leisure, the coffee was a small luxury he allowed himself before heading to his second job. Across from him sat a small backpack, his daughter Lily's favorite one, covered in unicorn stickers. She'd forgotten it in the rush to school, and Ethan planned to drop it off later. He was tired, his eyes said so, but kind. The kind of tired that came from years of doing everything alone and never giving up. But that morning, something unexpected was about to happen, something that would change Ethan's life forever. Before we begin this story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below if you love heartwarming stories that remind us of the good still left in this world. You're watching your channel name, where we share true and inspiring tales about kindness, courage, and second chances. Ethan was stirring his coffee when he heard a sharp voice from across the cafe. "Are you seriously going to make me wait?" "I said soy milk, not regular." A man in an expensive suit stood by the counter, yelling at a young barista who looked close to tears. Behind her was a woman, maybe in her mid-30s, standing quietly, holding her own cup. She was dressed simply blue jeans, a cream sweater, and hair pulled back in a low ponytail. But there was something calm and strong about her presence. The man continued shouting, waving his phone around. "I don't pay $10 for a cup of coffee to be treated like this." Ethan could tell the woman by the counter wasn't the type to back down. She spoke softly but firmly. "Sir, please, there's no need to yell. She's doing her best." "Who are you to tell me what to do?" the man snapped, glaring at her. "Mind your own business." The entire cafe went silent. Ethan felt something twist inside him. He'd seen this before, bullies with money thinking they owned the world. He stood up, walked over, and placed himself between the man and the woman. "That's enough," Ethan said quietly. "She's just doing her job. You got your coffee, now let it go." The man sneered. "Oh, great, now the hero steps in. What are you, her boyfriend?" Ethan didn't flinch. "No. Just someone who knows right from wrong." For a moment, the man looked like he might argue again, but the room's silence pressed in. People were watching. Muttering. He rolled his eyes and stormed out, slamming the door so hard the bell above it rattled. The young barista exhaled in relief, mumbling a shaky thank you. The woman looked at Ethan with warm eyes and said softly, "You didn't have to do that." "But thank you." Ethan smiled awkwardly. "Couldn't just sit there and watch. Some people forget what respect looks like." She smiled back. "I'm Olivia." "Ethan," he said, shaking her hand. They talked for a few minutes, small talk at first, then laughter. It felt natural, easy, like they'd known each other longer than 5 minutes. Before leaving, Olivia reached into her bag and handed him a small card. "If you ever need a favor, call this number," she said. Ethan looked at the plain white card. No logo, no fancy design. Just her name and a phone number. He thanked her, pocketed it, and went on with his day, not realizing that the woman he'd just defended was one of the most powerful business figures in the state. Weeks passed. Life moved on. Ethan kept working mornings at a construction site, evenings driving for a rideshare company. Every cent went toward keeping a roof over Lily's head. His daughter was everything to him. She was the reason he smiled even on the hardest days. But then, trouble hit. The construction company he worked for suddenly closed, leaving him without steady income. Bills started piling up. The rent notice came with a red stamp. He tried everything, extra shifts, small handyman jobs, but it wasn't enough. One night, sitting at his kitchen table, surrounded by unpaid bills and a sleeping Lily in the next room, Ethan pulled out that card. He turned it over and over in his hands, hesitating. Finally, he dialed the number. "Hello," came the calm voice on the other end. Olivia? "It's Ethan. From the coffee shop." There was a pause, then warmth in her tone. "Ethan. I'm glad you called. Are you all right? He hesitated. I wouldn't bother you, but things have been tough lately. Lost my job, and I'm trying to stay afloat for my daughter's sake. Olivia didn't miss a beat. Come see me tomorrow. I might have something that can help. The next morning, Ethan drove downtown, expecting maybe a referral or some small help. What he didn't expect was to pull up to a towering glass building with O West Industries written across the top. He stepped inside the grand lobby, feeling wildly out of place in his worn-out jacket and dusty boots. At the front desk, he gave his name, and to his surprise, the receptionist smiled. She's expecting you, Mr. Miller. He was led upstairs to an office with a skyline view of the city. And there she was, Olivia, the same woman from the cafe, except now dressed in a sharp black suit, looking every bit the billionaire executive she was. Ethan froze. You're the Olivia West? She smiled. Last time I checked. He laughed nervously. I guess I should have Googled you first. Olivia walked around her desk, handing him a folder. You said you're good with tools, right? I'm expanding one of our community outreach centers. I could use someone reliable to oversee the construction. Ethan blinked. You mean, hire me? I mean give you a job. Full-time. Benefits. A fair wage, she said softly. You stood up for me when you didn't have to. Now it's my turn to stand up for you. For the first time in months, Ethan felt something he hadn't felt in a long time, hope. Weeks turned into months. Ethan threw himself into his new role. He rebuilt not just a building, but his confidence, his stability, and his sense of purpose. Olivia often visited the site, sometimes with coffee for both of them. Their conversations grew longer, their smiles warmer. One day, after a long afternoon of work, she asked, "Why did you help me that day?" Ethan shrugged. Because someone had to. The world's already rough enough. If you can make someone's day better, even a little, you should. She looked at him thoughtfully, and in that moment, something shifted between them. By winter, the project was complete, and Olivia invited Ethan and Lily to the grand opening. Lily, in her little dress, ran around the new playground built beside the center, laughing with pure joy. Olivia knelt beside her, helping her tie her shoes, and looked up at Ethan with a soft smile. Later that evening, as the city lights glowed, Olivia pulled Ethan aside. You know, she said gently, I didn't just hire you out of gratitude. You reminded me of something money can't buy: human decency. He smiled shyly. And you reminded me that not all rich people forget what it's like to care. They both laughed. Then Olivia added softly, maybe we can keep reminding each other? Ethan nodded. I'd like that. Years later, that small act of kindness became the beginning of a beautiful story, one built on respect, courage, and compassion. Ethan eventually became the director of multiple community projects under Olivia's foundation. Together, they created opportunities for struggling families, single parents, and people trying to rebuild their lives. Every Christmas, Ethan and Olivia would return to that same coffee shop where they first met. The barista still worked there, now smiling instead of crying. And they'd always leave a generous tip, just to keep the kindness going. Because that's how it all began, with a simple act of standing up for someone, expecting nothing in return. In the end, kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can change everything. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even small acts of goodness can lead to the biggest blessings. You've been watching your channel name, where every story proves that kindness is still alive.